We are back here on Girl Talk, and I am honored today to be at Beaufort Memorial Hospital. I am here with Dr. Deanna Mansker. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
And I'll tell you, your reputation has preceded our talk. I'm really excited to talk to you on a variety of reasons. First of all, you're a mother of 3, and that's a very important role that you play.
Yes, ma'am.
And secondly, can we talk a bit about your background and what you do specifically here at Beaufort Memorial in your surgical practice?
Sure. So, the first part of that, my background, I trained at the Medical University of South Carolina. So I actually did my medical school there for 4 years, and I loved it so much that I decided to stay there and do my residency. So did residency there for 5 years. And at that point, I had my son in my chief year of residency. So I decided I wanted to stay nearby, and the Beaufort Memorial happened to have an opening, and it just really worked out well. And so decided to come down here.
Why surgery for you? And then specifically, what kind of surgery do you enjoy?
Okay, so surgery for me, I like the instant gratification of surgery. So I like that a patient comes in and they have a problem and they're sick, and I can take them to the operating room and I can fix that problem, and they leave and they feel better and they don't have that problem again.
Do you practice a general surgery? And what does that mean? I think we hear about specific types, orthopedic surgeons, heart surgeons, etc. But what does a general surgeon do?
So general surgeons do almost anything. We don't perform heart surgery or orthopedic surgery, major liver surgeries or anything like that, but we take out gallbladders, we fix hernias, we take out colon cancers or diverticulitis. We work on breast cancers. We work on skin cancers. So, basically, anything that happens throughout the body, we can take care of. Yeah.
Talk to us about gallbladder surgery. And I'm old enough that it used to be a huge invasive operation. Now it's a bit changed?
Yeah, it's actually very interesting. Back in the 80s and before, whenever a patient had a bad gallbladder, they actually had to have these big cuts, and it went right underneath the rib cage all the way around, and they would have to be in the hospital for 3, 4, 5 days.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, they were big operations. And around the late 80s, they came out with laparoscopic surgery, and the gallbladder was the first procedure that was performed laparoscopically. And so now we were able to take the gallbladder out through 3 or 4 little holes. Okay. And that turned it into an overnight stay in the hospital, or even an outpatient stay in the hospital. Oh my gosh. And now I actually use the robot to take the gallbladder out in some cases. And so a lot of times I don't have to use those 3 or 4 little holes. It's just one little cut right in the belly button.
We have her captive, so we get to ask these questions, and that is, robotic surgery has this mystifying connotation to it, if you will. Talk to me, doesn't it? Look, you're like, no, it doesn't.
I see it from my end.
Yeah, you're like, what? But talk to us about what makes it so specialized, and it's something that you really enjoy doing, too.
I do. It's a unique tool to do the operations with.
And tool is, I guess, the pivotal word for me. It is a tool.
It is a tool.
It is
yes,
not
ma'am.
the brains.
Correct. So, the layperson may picture a robot standing at the bedside doing surgery, and that is not the case. It's a tool. So I have to scrub in. I have to set everything up. I have to put my little ports in. I have to connect the robot's arms to the ports, and then I come over here to the console, the control panel, and I move the robot's arms. And the good thing about it is that I'm able to be more precise, because I'm looking into a 3D world instead of just a 2D camera like when we do laparoscopic surgery. So I can make much, much tinier movements than what I could with my normal hands.
What are the benefits of that, both for you and for the patient? Precision.
So for me, it's more precise.
Okay.
In some situations, it's safer surgery because I'm actually looking 3D instead of 2D, which some structures are difficult to see, and so the 3D helps you visualize it better, which makes surgery safer. Also, the instruments are wristed. So instead of having these straight instruments like when I do laparoscopic surgery, I can actually bend them like I would my wrist, and that makes it technically easier. For the patient, particularly in the setting of a single-site gallbladder, they just have one tiny cut in their belly button, and the scarring is much nicer. It's a better cosmetic outcome.
Can we talk for a minute about signs and symptoms of gallbladder disease? I think it's something that the older I get, the more I hear about, but I'm not really sure signs and symptoms what they are.
Sure. So when we think of gallbladder, most of the time we're thinking of gallstones as being a problem.
Yes.
And half of America has gallstones. They never even bother most people, but there's a small percentage of people that they do start to bother. And usually what's happening there is the gallbladder's trying to squeeze and there's stones in there.
Okay.
So they may feel burning, they may feel cramping, they may have bloating, some nausea, and that usually happens after they eat.
Oh,
particularly fried or fatty foods.
What's
or
the role of
spicy
the gallbladder,
foods.
bringing it kind of back to basics?
The gallbladder stores bile, and so whenever you eat certain foods, it squeezes and it shoots extra bile out and helps you digest your food.
Okay, and so once we have these symptoms, at what point do we need to see you, the surgeon?
So usually when you start having symptoms, you would go see your primary care doctor and say, hey, I'm not feeling well, something's going on. And they may do a little testing, and if they figure out or decide that it's the gallbladder,
Is
then
it
they would
this
send
kind
you
of
to me.
test, or is it
It's that kind of test. It may be an ultrasound, it may be some lab work. Those are kind of the starting points. And I would say that if you're having symptoms, then it's probably time to go see a surgeon because they're not going to go away.
They're not going to go. More women than men have this disease?
That is true, although men do get it as well.
Well, I tell you what, it's always inconvenient when we have to go, but you've been wonderful to talk to. We appreciate your time.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all for joining us here on Girl Talk. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Beaufort Memorial Surgical Specialists has offices in both Bluffton and Beaufort. For more information, visit BeaufortMemorial.org. To make an appointment with Dr. Deanna Mansker or any of the surgeons, call 843-524-8171.